Hello! Let's dive into the story. Why are there not more people talking about the tragic case of Jake Davison? On August 12, 2021, the peace of Plymouth was shattered by an unthinkable act of violence. Jake Davison, a troubled young man, armed with a shotgun, went on a deadly rampage, taking 5 lives, including his own mother's, before ending his own. This tragic event sent shockwaves through the community and ignited a national conversation about its root causes. In this video, we explore the life of Jake Davison, examining the factors that led to his descent into violence and the missed opportunities for intervention. We'll delve into the roles of mental health, online extremism, and societal failures in this harrowing tale. To understand the path that led Jake Davison to commit such a horrific act, it is crucial to examine the early years that shaped his worldview and contributed to his deep-seated anger and resentment. Born and raised in Plymouth, Davison's childhood was marked by instability and personal challenges. His parents separated when he was young, and he reportedly had a strained relationship with his father, who was largely absent from his life. This absence, coupled with other undisclosed family difficulties, created a sense of abandonment and insecurity within him.
Adding to his struggles, Davison was diagnosed with autism at a young age. While autism is a spectrum disorder and affects individuals differently, Davison reportedly struggled with social interaction and communication, which led to further isolation and difficulty forming meaningful connections. He was also known to have anger management issues, often lashing out at those around him. These underlying issues, combined with a turbulent home life, created a breeding ground for frustration and resentment that would fester within him as he grew older.
As Davison entered adolescence and young adulthood, his social isolation intensified. He struggled to fit in with his peers and found solace in the online world, spending countless hours immersed in video games and internet forums. While online gaming can provide a sense of community and belonging for some, for Davison, it became a dangerous echo chamber that reinforced his negative thoughts and feelings. He gravitated towards online communities known for their misogynistic and hateful views, particularly those associated with the Incel movement. The term Incel is short for involuntary celibate and refers to a predominantly online subculture of men who harbor deep resentment and hatred towards women, blaming them for their perceived lack of romantic and sexual success. These online spaces are often characterized by extreme misogyny, violent rhetoric, and a warped sense of entitlement, where women are dehumanized and viewed as objects to be possessed rather than individuals deserving of respect. For Davison, who already struggled with feelings of inadequacy and anger towards women, these online communities provided a dangerous validation of his twisted worldview. As Davison delved deeper into the online world of incels and other extremist groups, his views became increasingly radicalized. He adopted the hateful rhetoric and misogynistic ideologies prevalent in these online spaces, often expressing violent fantasies and a deep-seated hatred towards women in his online posts and interactions. He saw himself as a victim of a system rigged against him, blaming women for his perceived failures and projecting his anger and frustration onto them.
The internet, while a powerful tool for connection and communication, can also serve as a breeding ground for extremism and hatred. For individuals like Davison, who are already vulnerable and struggling with mental health issues, these online echo chambers can be particularly dangerous. They provide a sense of belonging and validation, reinforcing harmful beliefs and encouraging the escalation of violent thoughts and tendencies. In Davison's case, his online activity painted a clear picture of a deeply troubled individual consumed by hatred and on a dangerous path towards violence.
Tragically, the warning signs of Davison's descent into extremism and potential for violence were evident long before the events of August 12, 2021. His online activity, filled with hateful rhetoric and threats, raised numerous red flags that should have prompted intervention.
Additionally, there were reports of previous incidents of violence and aggression, indicating a pattern of concerning behavior.
However, these warning signs were largely ignored or dismissed, highlighting the systemic failures and missed opportunities that ultimately allowed this tragedy to occur.
One of the most glaring failures was the inadequate response to Davison's online activity. Despite the alarming nature of his posts and the clear evidence of his extremist views, there appears to have been little to no effort to monitor or investigate his online behavior.
This lack of proactive intervention allowed Davison to continue down a path of radicalization unchecked, fueling his anger and hatred without consequence.
Furthermore, the authorities' handling of previous incidents involving Davison raises serious concerns about their ability to assess and address potential threats.
On the fateful day of August 12, 2021, Davison's simmering rage boiled over, resulting in a horrific act of violence that would forever scar the community of Plymouth. The day began with an argument between Davison and his mother, Maxine Davison, at their home in the Keyham area of the city. The argument escalated quickly, and in a fit of rage, Davison retrieved his shotgun and fatally shot his mother. Driven by a toxic mix of anger, hatred, and delusion, Davison then left his home and embarked on a shooting spree that would claim the lives of 4 more innocent victims. His first victim, outside the home, was a 3-year-old girl, Sophie Martin, who was walking with her father, Lee Martin. Davison shot and killed both of them in cold blood before continuing his rampage through the neighborhood. The Plymouth shooting sent shockwaves through the community and beyond, leaving behind a trail of unimaginable grief and loss. The victims, whose lives were tragically cut short that day, were innocent people going about their daily routines, unaware of the darkness that was about to engulf them. They included
Maxine Davison, 51, Davison's mother, described as a loving and caring woman who tried her best to help her son. Sophie Martin, 3, a bright and bubbly little girl who loved unicorns and spending time with her family. Lee Martin, 43, Sophie's father, a devoted dad who tragically died protecting his daughter. Stephen Washington, 59, a kind and gentle man who was walking his dogs in the park. Kate Shepard, 66, a beloved wife, mother, and grandmother who was just steps away from her home.
Their deaths sent shockwaves through the community and beyond, leaving a void that can never be filled. In the aftermath of the Plymouth shooting, a wave of grief, anger, and disbelief swept over the nation. As the community struggled to come to terms with the tragedy, questions arose about how such a horrific event could have happened and what could have been done to prevent it. Multiple investigations were launched to examine the circumstances surrounding the shooting, including the police's handling of Davison's firearm license and their response to previous incidents involving him.
The Independent Office for Police Conduct, or IOPC, launched an investigation into Devon and Cornwall Police's decision to grant Davison a shotgun certificate and firearm in 2017, despite his history of mental health issues and reports of violence. The investigation found serious failings in the force's firearms licensing procedures, highlighting a lack of thorough background checks and risk assessments. The IOPC also investigated the police's response to a previous assault allegation against Davison, finding that they failed to properly investigate the incident or share crucial information with the firearms licensing unit.
The tragic case of Jake Davison serves as a stark reminder of the complex and interconnected challenges facing our society today. It highlights the devastating consequences of unchecked extremism, the urgent need for improved mental health support, and the critical importance of responsible gun control measures. While we cannot undo the pain and suffering caused by this senseless act, we can learn from this tragedy and work towards preventing similar events from occurring in the future.
One of the most crucial lessons learned from the Plymouth shooting is the need for greater awareness and proactive intervention in addressing online extremism. Social media platforms, internet service providers, and law enforcement agencies must work collaboratively to identify and address online spaces that promote hatred, violence, and radicalization.
The Plymouth shooting also underscores the critical importance of addressing mental health issues and providing adequate support services to those in need. While mental illness is not a direct cause of violence, it is often a contributing factor in cases where individuals struggle with anger, depression, and social isolation. We must work to destigmatize mental health, improve access to affordable and effective treatment options, and create a society that is more understanding and supportive of those struggling with mental health challenges. Finally, the Plymouth shooting reignites the debate surrounding gun control measures. While the UK has some of the strictest gun laws in the world, this tragedy highlights the need for ongoing review and potential strengthening of these laws. This includes stricter background checks for gun ownership, mandatory reporting requirements for concerning behaviour, and a ban on certain types of firearms, such as high-capacity shotguns. The case of Jake Davison serves as a tragic reminder that we must remain vigilant in our efforts to address the root causes of violence and work together to create a safer and more compassionate world for all. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth coverage and important discussions. And let's go!